Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Get all your latest professional wrestling news and updates. AEW, Impact Wrestling, WWE, NXT, live viewing parties with eWrestling News fans. Don't miss out. Go to eWrestlingNews.com today. The best damn wrestling site on the planet. I've been watching wrestling for over 30 years. Professional wrestling is in my blood. Inside this box, there are thousands of professional wrestling cards. So many legends and superstars have come and passed, while some still have a long ways to go. These cards are a true testament of time for every bit of blood, sweat, and tears. Today we travel back in time to 1995 with WCW main event Cardz set. On this exciting episode of Superstars with Cardz. The classics. The rookies. The legends. Wrestling cards are back. Bigger than ever. Gaming News Empire presents Superstars on Cardz. Alright folks, welcome to another episode of Superstars on Cardz. Now in today's episode, we're heading down south to Georgia. And we're going to be checking out some 1995 World Championship Wrestling main event card set. It's time for another WrestleVessel report. Top wrestling cards of the week.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here again, the WrestleVessel here, talking about some of the cards of the week. First, I'm going to go through a couple of these cards. So we got a nice Mankind card here. It's a pretty rare autograph one that came from the World Wrestling Federation Superstars Collector Duo cards that came out in 1998. That's a pretty cool one right there. Then this is a nice one. This is from the 91 card set. It's signed by Paul Roma when they were Power and Glory, so that's pretty cool. And now I'm going to go through. I've been actually collecting autograph cards from the wrestlers. I write them through the mail since December 2012. And a lot of times they send these interesting like signature cards. They got like a picture of a ring, and then the back it shows you like your name and achievements. So the first one I ever got was from Raven. Like, he kind of had a crazy signature. He did. Some of them don't follow directions, though. They sign the back instead of the front. So this is Raven. This is Molly Holly. This is Pretty Paul Roma. And he dated it. That was January 17th of 03. This is Sean Mooney, the guy who was the interview people in the event centers all throughout like the late 80s, early 90s. The hardcore legend Terry Funk. This is good old JR, Jim Ross. This is Tony Schiavone. So that's interesting now because those two are teaming up, don't forget, in Cody Rhodes' organization, AEW. So we got Schiavone and Ross next to each other. All right, I'm going to go through about 2 more pages for now for you guys fans. We'll get through more of these gradually as we do segments. Here we got Waylon Mercy, and he wrote on the back the date, January 30th, 2013. We got Barry Horowitz, Mr. Technical Barry Horowitz. And he wrote in the back, very cool. His name, Barry Horowitz, SummerSlam 95. We got the Honky Tonk Man. He personalized it to me. We got the legendary Hacksaw Jim Duggan. We got Cowboy Bob Orton. I think that one's personalized to me, yep. We got Demolition Smash. I wrote him so many times. Later, I got some other gimmicks, too. We got James J. Dillon. The Road Dogg Jesse James. This one's personalized to me. Very nice signature. This one is pretty cool. Barry Darso also sent me this very cool Repo Man card and signed it. So this is from 93. I guess this is the Merlin set or something like that. So a cool Repo Man card. It's autographed. There's the back with the bio. Go through a couple more and then we'll call it a day. So we've got legendary Jerry the King Lawler. He even wrote Hall of Fame. What year did he go in? 07. Look at this nice signature. Two-Todd Jumping Jim Brunzell. So that's very nice. They dated it too. So it was March 26, 2013. We got, who's this one? This one is Boris Zukov. So that's pretty cool. He wrote, Two-Todd Best Wishes. Best wishes to a great wrestling fan, Boris Zukov 2013. And the back, he even signed some of his other gimmicks like Private Jim Nelson. And he wrote Old School Wrestling, so that's pretty cool. This is Boris Zukov signed the back of the achievement card. We got Holla At Me player, Teddy Long on the WCW cards. We got B. Brian Blair, the other Killer B. So he wrote WrestleMania 3. He actually wrote April 86. It was really March 87, so he blew that. I believe I already showed you guys Brunzell. We got the Dragon, Ricky Steamboat. Excellent signer, by the way. We got Primo Cologne. I got that one during Access. We got Jason Knight, and he wrote Two-Todd Best Wishes, Jason Knight 2013. And yeah, we already covered Boris, so there we go. So very cool. Oh yeah, on top two, I missed this one. We got the former jobber Bobby Starr. So he wrote Playboy Bobby Starr. I don't remember he was being a Playboy, but he was in WCW mostly, a little bit in WWF. Bobby Starr, the handstand talent for years. So those are some of the sample cards. You know, I'll show you more of these signature cards and other cool ones in the future. We'll go back to the Aftershock now.
And this card set is actually pretty cool. Now, during the same time, we had the WWF Action Packed card set from 94 to 95, which were really, really awesome. So let's see how those stack up to the WWF cards. Are the WCW cards going to be just as good? Let's find out. Let's head over to the binder and let's check out the 1995 Cardz World Championship Wrestling Main Event Card Set. Live from the Wrestling Card Control Center. Wrestling with Cardz' very own Zan Morning.
What's up, wrestling fans? I'm Zan from Wrestling with Cardz on YouTube. 1995 was quite the year for WCW. We had Monday Nitro kicking off, which changed the face of wrestling on cable TV. Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage are running wild because they had just jumped from WWF to WCW within the last few years of the time these cards were put out. And then a little-known company producing trading cards that weren't as popular, called Cardz, put out this WCW wrestling card set known as Main Event, which is the cards we'll be looking at in today's video. We've got so many great cards in this set. The first WCW cards featuring Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, what many consider to be the rookie cards of Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin, that's Steve Austin, and Booker T from Harlem Heat, as well as some other interesting choices and innovative card designs. This is such a great wrestling card set, and I honestly think people are still sleeping on it. I see this set gaining a lot of potential in value and just popularity going forward. So let's take a trip back to 1995 when WCW was kind of starting to change the game, so to speak, in cable TV wrestling and also wrestling cards. When you're done watching this video, head over to my channel on YouTube, Wrestling with Cardz, for even more great wrestling card content. Enjoy this video. Catch you next time.
Alright folks, here we go. We have the World Championship Wrestling 1995 Cardz with a Z at the end. WCW Main Event card set. So this is based off the Main Event, the classic WCW TV show that they had back then. And this card set has 100 cards. And you can see the little Cardz logo right there. Alright, so this has a lot of various different things. This is probably, I believe, the first card set that featured Hulk Hogan in WCW. So let's turn the page and see what we got here. And right away we got some pretty awesome looking cards. These cards actually look really cool. We got the Wildcat Willie right there. That was WCW mascot back then. And then we have Hulk Hogan with the world title, ripping his shirt off in his red and yellow Real American gimmick right there once he got into WCW. And we got Ric Flair doing a figure 4 leg lock on Hulk Hogan right there on the top. Some classic mid-90s WCW action. And then we have a Sting right there in the center, along with Macho Man Randy Savage. And then we have a Frank Anderson card, not exactly a well-known wrestler in WCW. And then we have Marcus Bagwell right there at the very bottom, very, very young Marcus Bagwell. That's definitely before Buff the Stuff gimmick, and you can tell that he's very, very green and young in that picture. He's definitely fairly new. And then we have the Patriot right there in the next card. And then we have Paul Roma. He's doing some sort of maneuver on the Patriot, and you have Paul Orndorff in the background. Alright, let's head over to the next page, and look at the back of these cards. The back of these cards are actually just as cool as the front of the cards. You got like a little portrait of each wrestler, and it's very, very clear. You can see up close. Looks pretty awesome. Alright, let's continue on here. We have on the very top Paul Orndorff. And Paul Orndorff was classic in the WWF, and then eventually he jumped over to WCW, much like a lot of these guys right here, like Hogan, Flair. And it looks like we have Black Top Bully right there, being a bully. He's pissing somebody off. Look at him. And then we have Bobby Eaton doing what looks like a camel clutch. And then we have a classic Diamond Dallas Page card right there. It's probably one of the first DDP cards that you'll see. And then we have Ming coming down the aisle in a suit. Alright, then we have the Bunkhouse Buck. I don't quite remember Bunkhouse Buck, but that's apparently the guy right there. Around this time I actually had WCW, so I was able to watch WCW. But if you watched my previous videos, a lot of the older WCW cards, like from 91 and 92, I wasn't familiar with every single thing. But around this time is probably, I want to say 94, 95 is when we first got TBS and TNT on my cable system in Connecticut. So we were actually able to watch WCW around the time that Hogan joined. Alright, right here on the bottom we have Booker T doing a kick to the Nasty Boys right there. Excuse me. Kicked them right in the face. Knocked his teeth out right there. Look at that. And we have Stevie Ray. And he looks like he's choking somebody out outside the ring. I'm not exactly sure. He looks like the Patriot.
And then we have Brad Armstrong right there on the bottom.
And the illustrations, everything so far is like in ring. So, except for maybe this card right here. But all the shots over here on the back of the card look like the studio shots. But these cards right here really show off a lot of in-ring action. It looks pretty awesome. The back of the cards, you can see some classic portraits. Studio shots, so you have Booker T right here, Stevie Ray. Alright, the very top of the cards right here that we have on this page, we have Arn Anderson. Then we have Lord Stephen Regal. And then we have Johnny B. Bad shooting off his confetti. And, Lord Stephen Regal, I mean, look at that card. He's definitely young and green in that picture. He's around the time he probably first started wrestling. And then we have Brian Pillman. And that was probably around the time where Brian Pillman was very, very popular. And he was definitely taken off. And then we have Big Bubba right there, the Big Boss Man. And then we have Dustin Rhodes. And the crazy thing about Dustin Rhodes is he looks exactly the same now that he did back then. And we have Jerry Sags and Brian Knobbs right there on the bottom, both of the Nasty Boys. And they look like they're doing almost the same exact move, which is pretty funny. We have Kevin Sullivan right there on the bottom right hand side. Alright, to the next page we have Vader. And I'm not exactly sure what happened in that picture, but there looks like there's some sort of smoke. It looks like the smoke is coming off of the actual Vader helmet. That little thing that he wears to the ring is probably not so little, it's probably huge. But it looks like it got into his opponent's eyes and he's using it as a weapon. And then the next card right there, we have Stunning Steve Austin. That is definitely Stone Cold Steve Austin before he was bald, before he was Stone Cold. And he was having a match with Sting right there. And then we have Das Wunderkind, Alex Wright. You can see Alex Wright doing an armbar. And that was definitely one of my favorite wrestlers in WCW, Alex Wright, believe it or not. I thought his little dance that he did to ring, I thought that was pretty cool. And then we have Avalanche right there in the center. Avalanche was an earthquake in WWF. You can see there's a lot of WWF wrestlers that left and went to WCW during this time. I want to say half of the early 90s, late 80s WWF roster disappeared and went to WCW. You had guys like Big Boss Man, Earthquake, Hacksaw Jim Duggan right here. You had Brutus the Barber Beefcake, known as Butcher. They all came from WWF. They left. And down there on the bottom we have Dave Sullivan doing a leg drop, and then we have the Nasty Boys on a card together. And then we have Harlem Heat right down here. And that was when Harlem Heat was fairly new. Alright, let's turn the page. Alright, right there on the top, we have the tag team Pretty Wonderful with Paul Orndorff and Paul Roma, I believe that's Paul Roma. And then we have Stars and Stripes. And then we have the Monster Maniacs with Macho Man and Hulk Hogan, also known as the Mega Powers and WWF in the early 90s, late 80s. And then we have right there Jimmy Hart with the styrofoam hand with the ear. This is the Hulk Hogan merchandise right there. He's trying to sell the crap out of that merchandise. And then we have Queen Sherry, Sister Sherry, whatever you want to call her, Sherry Mortel. She's another one that left WWF and jumped over to WCW. And then we have Harley Race with a crazy looking facial expression right there on his face. And then on the bottom we have Colonel Parker smoking a cigar with a briefcase. Right there on the very bottom it looks like Gary Capetta. I'm guessing that's probably one of the ring announcers or something. I'm not quite familiar with who he is, to be honest. And right there in the very bottom, Mean Gene Oakland has his own card. He's interviewing Buff Bagwell. Alright, moving right along, we have Bobby Heenan on the very top, and that's another individual who left WCW. I left WWF for WCW, the same as Gene Oakland. And now we have Tony Schiavone right there. And then we have Eric Bischoff with his card right here with interviewing Sting. Now this is before the NWO existed, so you know, back then I don't think too many people knew that Eric Bischoff was running everything behind the scenes, so he was basically like a commentator and an interviewer, and that was it. And then in the center we have Gordon Sully. Now we have Larry Sabisco. And we have Nick Bavlenko. We have three classics right there in the center. And on the very bottom we have Diamond Dal with Diamond Dallas Page. That's a classic card right there, DDP. And Kimberly. And then we have Das Wunderkind, Alex Wright doing his dance. That's the exact same dance I was referring to earlier. It's obnoxious. And then we have Harlem Heat with Sherry right there on the very bottom right card. Alright. At the very top we have Dave Sullivan beating the crap out of somebody. And then we have the Atomic Leg Drop being done to Ric Flair by Hulk Hogan in that next card. And then we have the Scorpion Deathlock being done by Sting Alright, on the center cards right there, we have, it says that power bomb, but it looks like Vader's doing an elbow drop, to be honest. I don't see a power bomb being happening on that card. I don't quite understand that one at all. I mean, there is no power bomb happening. And then on the next card, we have a Bulldog. But once again, I don't see a Bulldog happening either. That looks like a clothesline being done by Dustin Rhodes. And then on the next card right here, it says Sleeper. And it looks like a Brutus Beefcake. I guess he was known as the Butcher back then. It looks like he might be choking somebody out. I'm not sure, but that's pretty hilarious. On the very bottom right here, we have a Sunset Flip. And it looks like I can recognize it looks like Johnny B. Bad and maybe Arn Anderson, I believe. And the next card we have Hollywood Blondes. It looks like definitely Steve Austin beating somebody up. I'm not exactly sure who. And then we have the Vader flipping off the top rope. Such a massive man to be doing that, but he actually did it. Alright, the next page right here, and on the very, very top we have the Nasty Boys doing their very famous nasty armpit maneuver where they scrape your face in their armpit and it stinks really, really bad. Disgusting. And then we have the Macho Man Randy Savage doing an elbow drop right there on the second card. And then we have Ric Flair doing the figure 4 leg lock on the third card right there. And the center cards right here, we have the headlock being done by Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And then we have this center card right here, we have Ric Flair doing that headlock to Hulk Hogan right there. And then we have a cage match between Hogan and Flair. And they didn't really do much in that card, but it's still a pretty good picture. Now the bottom row right here, this is actually a really, really awesome card. We have Big Van Vader and Hogan having a showdown with each other, and to be honest, that's actually a really great picture. This shows you how massive both of those men are, and Vader was huge. Look at him. And he was definitely taken a lot more serious in WCW than WWF. And then over here we have it looks like a War Games match. Maybe just a regular cage match, I'm not sure. But it looks like Dustin Rhodes and somebody else in the cage. And then the last card right there, you have Randy Savage. It's a nice WCW card of Randy Savage right there. Pretty cool. And then on the next page, we have another Randy Savage card. We actually have 3 Randy Savage cards on top right there. And he's wearing all different wrestling attire. Pretty cool stuff. Look at that. All different attire right there. Just as cool as looking as the old WWF Macho Man Savage attire. Looks pretty awesome. The third picture right there, he's actually signing autographs. So you can see the classic Macho Man 8x10s from WCW right there, and he's signing one of those right there. Pretty cool. The second row of pictures right there, we got Ric Flair, and Ric Flair. The third picture, Ric Flair in his robe. The second one right there, he's trying to break Hulk Hogan's arm, and then of course the first one he's in a tuxedo. And then on the very bottom right there, we have another Ric Flair card. He's pinning Sting, I believe. And then the second card right there is Sting playing volleyball. And the third one right there is Sting coming out in a tuxedo. Pretty cool stuff. Alright, on the next page, at the very top we have Sting doing a dropkick to Earthquake. And we have Hulk Hogan doing some sort of maneuver on Vader right there. And then on the third card right there, we have Hulk Hogan punching Vader in the head. On the second row, we have Hogan making an entrance. And then the second card right there, we have Hulk Hogan doing an Irish whip to Ric Flair. This third card right here in the center, we have Hogan with his Dodge Viper. Now this is around the time, this must have been around 93 or 94, this was around the time that where I lived, we finally got TBS, TNT, and we were able to watch WCW content. For the longest time, we weren't able to get WCW. We didn't have the channel. For some reason, our cable system did not carry it. We lived over in Connecticut, so it was Vince McMahon territory, so maybe that had something to do with it, I'm not sure. But finally, once Hogan joined, I remember seeing this on TV when Hogan had a huge gathering and all the fans were around, and they had a WCW promoting his signing and all that stuff. That was a huge deal back then. And that was probably around the first time that we had a WCW. At least where I live. I mean, down south and a lot of other places, you guys probably had WCW the whole time and there was no issue. But for some reason where I lived, it took a while for us to get it. Down here at the very bottom of the page, we have Hulk Hogan being interviewed by Mean Gene Okerlund. And then on the next card, these cards are really, really cool, by the way. These are basically the illustrations that they used for their pay-per-views back then. So this is basically what you would see on like their VHS tapes or the pay-per-view posters. This one is Spring Stampede. You can see all the bulls running. You have the two wrestlers locking up in there in the center. It looks really, really cool. And then we have Starrcade 94 right here. We have 1, 2, 3 in the center. We have 1 historic night, 2 intense to believe, 3 main events. So they have 3 main events right there. It's just triple threat. And it was live on pay-per-view. Cool looking pay-per-view posters right there. And then on the next page, we have a Halloween Havoc right there on the top. Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair. And this is a Rage in the Cage match. And then on the next pay-per-view poster right there, we have WCW Fall Brawls, War Games. And very, very cool looking art right there. We have the cage with the hand-drawn hands on the actual cage itself, and all the hands are like all taped up. It says Blood, Sweat, and Steel. And on the bottom you have Steve Austin, Sting. I can't quite make out all the wrestlers right there. Bunkhouse Buck, Vader, Dustin Rhodes, and Jerry Sags featured on that poster. Which is now, obviously this is a card, but that was probably a poster at one time. And then we have a WCW Bash at the Beach. Sunday, July 17th. And I remember when I was younger, my birthday was always around the time that Bash at the Beach happened, or Beach Blast, whatever you want to call it. So usually my parents would order me that specific WCW pay-per-view for my birthday, because it was pretty close to when my birthday would take place. So I would always watch Bash at the Beach, and I remember I was a huge Hogan fan, and Bash at the Beach '96 when he turned heel, I was 10 years old when that happened, and my birthday just happened around that time, and I was like, I was devastated that Hogan turned to a bad guy. I never thought that would ever happen. And as a young wrestling fan back then, I was like, I couldn't believe it. But then as time went by, I thought it was pretty awesome. I thought he was pretty cool. Alright, right here we have WCW Slamboree 94, a Legends reunion. Alright, it looks like we have Ric Flair, Ray Stevens, Rick Rude, Vern Gagne, Vader, and Killer Kowalski featured on the... they're featured on the poster right there. Now this has like classic records and stuff in the background. So I don't quite... And they're smashed. So that's pretty interesting. That's a pretty cool looking poster. Alright, so on the next poster we have Flair versus Vader Super Brawl 4. Sunday, February 20th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and live on pay-per-view. Pretty cool. It's something to do with a Thunder Cage. I'm not sure. I guess the Thunder Cage might be that huge cage. I'm not sure. The next card right here we have Arn Anderson. And I find it hilarious that they went from pay-per-view cards, like posters, to back to normal cards again. So we have Arn Anderson. The row on the bottom we have Harlem Heat coming out with the tag team titles. We have Vader, Press Slam, and Sting. And then it looks like we have Hogan winning the world title right there on the bottom. Alright. And the final 3 cards. We have a checklist featuring all the cards that were in the set right there. And then we have Hulk Hogan. I believe that these are actually promo cards. Yeah, these 2 cards are promo cards, so these are technically not part of the set. But you can see them right there on top. Those are not numbered. That's Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair and Sting doing the Scorpion Deathlock. These are promo cards. So I bought those additionally and added them to the set, and they basically promoted that card set, which you can see right there in the back. And that is the 1995 Cardz main event card set for WCW. It's a really, really cool card set. I like the color scheme on it. I like the illustrations. I honestly think this card set looks really awesome. And here's a little preview of what you can expect possibly on the next card set video. We have World Championship Wrestling 1998 WCW NWO Topps card set featuring 72 cards. That's coming soon. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and comment down below. Don't forget to check out the WrestleVessels YouTube page, Zan Morning's Wrestling on Cardz YouTube page, and eWrestlingNews.com. And stay tuned for the next episode of Superstars on Cardz.